Did you know that in the UK currently, around a third of all employees are thinking about quitting their job and making a change? And perhaps you're one of them. And if you're thinking that now might be a time for you to really just reassess whether you're in the right career and whether it might be the right time for you to make a big career change or even a small career change, then you're in the right place. We're going to explore a little bit what might be possible for you today. But first of all, why have you and so many other people ended up in careers that they're really just not enjoying? Or maybe you are enjoying your career, but you're not enjoying your job. But why is that? And often it's because we accidentally fall into careers. The number of people I speak to on a day-to-day basis that left full-time education and basically just took the first job that looked kind of attractive, paid the right sort of money, was in the right sort of location, and sort of sounded like a good idea at the time. And perhaps it was a good idea at the time, but I speak to many people, particularly in midlife, who have got to a point where they're just like, oh, hang on, do I want the next 20 years to look like the last 20 years? And very often the answer is no, because their job might have served them, their career might have served them over the last 2 decades, but now it feels like their job or their career isn't aligned with who they are as a person anymore. It doesn't feel meaningful. It doesn't feel purposeful, doesn't feel fun. Often it just doesn't feel fun anymore. And they've lost their spark and they've lost their mojo and they're looking to regain it. Does that sound like you? Very often clients come to me thinking that they need to make a really big, drastic career change to feel happy in their work again. And sometimes that is the case. But I think it's a lot less daunting when you realize that you can make small changes to start enjoying your job more from day one, literally from tomorrow morning. So before you think of making a really drastic career change, because let's face it, it's going to affect every aspect of your life. It's going to very likely affect the amount of money you make. It's going to affect the people around you who love you. It's going to affect how you feel about yourself. It's going to affect so many different areas of your life. So it's worth getting right. So if you think it might be time for you to make a career change, but you're not 100% sure, then the first thing I would recommend doing is just take a little bit of time to reflect on where you are currently. Look at the organization you're working for. Are their values in line with your values? Do you get paid fairly for what you do? Do you get to use a lot of your skills on a day-to-day basis? All of these things are worth just taking time out and reflecting upon. And what I really recommend doing is starting a little diary. A lot of people roll their eyes when I say diary, but it really is just something that will take you 1 minute or two at the end of each day. Keep a little notepad by your bed, and every night before you go to sleep, just take 1 minute, maximum two, and just jot down all the activities you got involved in at work that really energized you, that sparked an interest, that made time fly, where you felt like you were in the flow. Just start taking note of those. And after a week or two, you'll start to have a really good overview of the things that you should be spending more time doing. You can also, for bonus points, start taking note of the things that are draining you of energy. What are the things that you are doing, maybe on a daily basis, that are really just draining you of energy, even if you're really good at them? To give you an example, one person I worked with a little while ago, he was really good at doing pitches to clients. And most of the time, they would win the client because the pitch was so good. But he admitted that actually, after every pitch, he felt completely drained and it was just not energizing or fun in any way for him, despite the fact that he was so good at it. But we often fall into this trap believing just because we're good at something, we should be doing more of it. And that's not always the case. So, really, just start to take a note of what are the things that really make you feel alive and what are the things that are doing the opposite? What are the things that are draining your energy? And start to see if in your current role, in your current organization, you can start to do more of the things that energize you and less of the things that drain you. And sometimes it's as simple as having a conversation with your line manager or HR or somebody else within your organization and saying, do you know what? I think I've got these skills and I'm passionate about this and I'm really good at this. And if there was a way for me to incorporate more of that in my role, I would be so much happier and I'd be so much more productive. Is there any way that we can tweak my role to make this work? there are many more things that you can do to really work out whether it's time for you to make a career change. And this is why I love this podcast so much. Obviously, I'm biased, but I speak to so many people who've made a career change and have made it work for them. And if you haven't already, you might like to check out some of the interviews that I've done over the last 2 years with all sorts of different people who've made massive career changes and sometimes just small changes that have just made work much more fun, more meaningful, more purposeful for them. So check out those if you haven't already. And the other thing I would suggest is if you've been through the process for a few weeks of jotting down the things that are energizing you and looking at how you might be able to tweak your job to make it more fun for you and more meaningful, and you've realized that actually you are 100% ready for a career change, but you're not entirely sure what to do, then I've created 10 questions for you that you can ask yourself. It's completely free. It's on my website, which is yescareercoaching.com. And you'll find free resources and you'll find the 10 questions that you can ask yourself right now. You can print them off and just spend a bit of time, get yourself a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, and just sit down and go through those questions. And actually, just taking that time to do some self reflection, which we don't often do, will hopefully start to spark some really good ideas. And actually, if you want to make it more fun, you could sit down with your best friend, your mum, your partner, your daughter, son, whoever, somebody that you think might be a really good person to have a look at your career development with. I hope you found that useful. And if you've got any burning questions about how to make a career change, then do get in touch. You can comment below or you can get in touch via my website, and I'd be happy to put those on the list of questions that I'm going to start addressing more in this podcast. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's your time.